Yeah, exactly. All right, public comment. The Pembroke School Board welcomes public comment. According to policy 903, we remind everyone of the following. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise specified by the board. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than to individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments to protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community. The board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals, such as students or district employees, privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@penridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. Are there any public comments?
Is this finance?
Yes.
Yeah. Sue Furlong, West Rock Hill Township. I think this is finance. The suburban water technology, was that sent out for bids?
If you want to list all of your questions and comments, and then we'll try to address them.
Okay, well, that was it.
That's it? Okay, perfect.
It's $800, and then $825, so it's like $2,400 a month. And I'm just curious if, if we've asked other companies to bid on that service. Because that, it gets to be a large amount when you take it out over the year. And so I'm just curious if we have any other bids on that.
Okay. Thank you. And Mr. Belber will touch on that.
Okay.
When we get to that on the agenda. Any other public comments? Okay. All right, review contracts for approval. Mr. Belber?
Okay, first contract, actually the first 2 contracts are Kids Piece for tutorial services. You see these contracts on a monthly basis. These are both of these contracts are for students that are placed in facilities for medical reasons, and then the district is responsible for paying for the educational services while the children are in the medical facility. So $40 per hour for the services provided to the kids, and then the services will continue as long as the kids are in need of the being medical. C is the Great American Opportunity Program. This is the annual contract for all 3 middle schools. This contract is for 1920 school year. This is the magazine drive fundraiser. This program is currently underway at all 3 middle schools. And we did reach out to the 3 buildings to find out from them to give us an average of what they make on this fundraiser on a per year. Central makes about $10,000 on it. North is the last 2 years have been 11.9 and 12.3, and then South the last 3 years 9,500, 14.6, and 13.5. So they make pretty decent money on this. So it's that. D is the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. This is for the IDEA Section 619 Early Intervention Contract. So what this is federal dollars which flow through the IU to the school district to be used for students with disabilities, and this particular section 619 is only to be used for the district can only use this money for kindergarten students that are 5 years old. And this allocation is $5,544. And the other section of IDA is for the school-aged children, and those dollars can be used through grades 1 through 12, and we do use those dollars. and the other one is a much larger amount. This is a small amount because it just is for kids that are 5 years old and in kindergarten. So that's what that contract is for, and that's an annual contract. We see that each year. Nothing has changed in that other than the amount of money, which is based on the form driven out. E, F, and G are 3 contracts, independent contracts for suburban water. These contracts are for the testing of the water at these 3 buildings because these 3 buildings are on wells. We have always done this testing. This is an ongoing process. Suburban Water has always been the vendor that has done the testing. This was not bid. This is a professional service. It's not required to be bid, and each contract stands on its own, and each contract is less than $10,000. So it is a professional service testing of the water.
Is there, would there be a benefit to reaching out to some other companies that offer that service just to compare and see where we're falling with this company?
Is there any other, other?
I don't believe there's a lot of companies that do this compliance testing, but I could certainly do that just to ease the conscience of, is this a good price or not? I can tell you, I use the same vendor at Quakertown successfully. They do a good job. They're fairly local. They're Montgomery County, but they're just across the line. And they do a good job, I think is why we've used them for this long. But we could, if that's the board's direction, I can certainly look at different prices to make sure we're good.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that.
Okay.
This is separate from the other testing we talked about before, the pipes.
Yes.
It's completely separate.
Yep, we're gonna talk about that facility. Okay.
I know, I'm like,
H is a settlement agreement. As I understand, this settlement agreement was presented to the board by Dr. Wyerka and Dr. Bolton under, as a legal item in executive sessions. I understand that you've had all the information on that settlement agreement, and Dr. Wyerka sent it back out and asked if there was any questions. So I don't really have anything to talk about with the settlement agreement. It's a special ed issue. Unless you have questions after this meeting, please make sure that they get back, and we'll get them to Dr. Wyerka or Dr. Bolton so that you have all your questions answered. Delta T Group, which is the next one, this is for substitute nursing services. If you remember last year, we started with, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 different companies to try to get enough substitutes for the nurses. And this is just a renewal of one of those contracts to continue to have resources available to us when we need substitute nurses, especially when we have kids that are going out on trips and we need to send a nurse along because we have a medically fragile child. We need to be able to pull from these services, these providers, so that we're not taking our nurses out of the building and leaving the buildings unattended while, and not covering the building while we're covering a field trip. We need these services to be able to cover different things. So, again, it's just a renewal of the current year contract, and as far as I know, it's been working well. Sherry's happy with it, or she wouldn't have brought it back for, a renewal.
Question of that, Sean, is there a price increase, or they held the prices the same?
Same rates as last year.
Same rate, okay, thank you.
Same rates as last year. The next one is the Lehigh University contract for the graduation, date June 13th, 2019. Estimated cost, $10,604.76. And there is an alternate date in here in case we have too many snow days. Snow days this year, which is June 18th. And last year, our final cost was actually about $1,000 more than this year's estimate. So if there's any, when you look at that, if there's any questions you have, let us know, and I'll get them answered.
Basically the same level of services this year? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So wait, why is it cheaper then?
it's more.
Oh, it's more. Okay.
You said
Well, the estimate's about $1,000 less, but they give it to us as an estimate, and then depending on how many
So
hours.
this year's estimate is lower than last year's estimate.
Actual.
Than last year's.
Actual cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Estimates are the same.
So it depends on once we get there, how many hours we have, and
All right, now I understand,
Yeah.
sorry.
so, and again, they clearly state in, it's just that it's an estimate based on what they think we need,
Oh,
and
okay.
then they do a final bill with the end after they, we've actually got our, after the program's here. So, okay? And the last contract is Rachel's Challenge, presentation for students, staff, and community on March 12th and 13th of 2019. The cost is $14,300.
And this is a presentation, the presentation was given at the PSBA conference, and, Mrs. Cullen and I were able to view that presentation there. We were really impressed with it. And actually, I reached out to Dr. Hoffman, the executive director of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, afterwards, and, told him how great this was and that we should look into this in the county. And he said, I've already been contacted by numerous other board members over there today, who are saying the same thing, so we're definitely, gonna look at this. And, it was something that was discussed at the superintendent's meeting at the IU, and, there was a lot of excitement, and some of the superintendents who were not able to make it to PSBA and some other board members are excited that, we're looking to bring it here, so that for those of them who are not able to make it to PSBA, they would have the opportunity to come and hopefully be able to view it here, so they can see if they can bring it their way. But it's a great program, and I'm gonna let Mrs. Cullen share more about it. She's been doing a lot of work on this, and was able to get us a discount and a better deal on this. So, if so, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Cullen.
So yeah, I think it kind of straddles two things, maybe like curriculum and, I guess it's a shame that it's being introduced at the finance meeting, although I understand why, because it is a contract. But as Megan said, we went to the presentation. Daryl Scott was one of the keynote speakers at the school board conference that you guys all sent us to in October. And for as long as I've been on the board, we've been working on the social and emotional learning, and I've always felt like there is an element that was missing, and that would be the intrinsic, we focus on a lot of things like other people's behavior and how you address other people's behavior, but I felt like there wasn't really anything that addresses the individual's behavior and responsibility and what an individual can do to make their own world and existence better for themselves. And when I watched Daryl Scott speak, I'm trying not to get choked up, but I ran right back to the back of the room when it was over, and I had to get the information for it, and I knew that it was something that had to come to Penridge. So I'm really grateful that you guys sent us to the conference, because I think this is what we've been missing. I think this is something that will, again, it will complement the social and emotional learning that we already have. It will complement what we've done over the last couple of years. We have increased our guidance department staff. We have taken on psychologists, because as we all know, mental health and mental well-being is a real crisis. And I think we've done everything on that end that you can possibly do, as far as having outside forces that are working, bringing something to someone. Now this will address the student from the inside and have him or her work from the inside out, and actually adults as well. And so I know there's concern about the cost. It is $14,300, but it's not just any other assembly. This assembly is going to reach over 4,000 of our 7,300 students, first of all. So this isn't just an assembly that's going to be done at the high school and goodbye. We're going to have our middle school students come. We are looking at bringing even the fifth graders to come into the high school and to have the presentation here. So this will take place over 2 days. You're going to have the younger ones the first day and the older ones the day after, or vice versa, it doesn't matter. But with the high school, now the younger ones will see the presentation, and then they will go back to school. But for the high school students, it's called the immersion package, and they give the students the presentation broken into two groups, 9th and 10th grade and 11th and 12th grade. They see the presentation in the morning, they see an identical presentation, and then in the afternoon, you have Rachel's Challenge people and adults from, our faculty, staff. I've volunteered to come in to be one of the adult facilitators, but they work with the kids to tell them how to put this all into action. There's Rachel's Challenge clubs throughout the country, and they do anything they feel moved to do to make, again, their world a better place. And it's all about, to me, it's about empowering yourself and saying to yourself, instead of focusing on a problem, which is what we always do, we always focus on a problem, and we all have problems, but when you focus on that too much, then you're letting yourself be consumed by the problem. This tells the person how every day when I wake up, what can I do, something simple to make my world a better place, and it gets rid of that noise. You have stuff to do, you can't focus on problems because you have things that you're doing that are having a positive impact. And it's not simply just being kind to people, that's manners, in my opinion. That's just teaching someone manners. This goes a lot deeper than that. It teaches them, again, how to put it in their own hands and to control it their own way. And in addition to the school presentation, which includes, you've got your presentation, the program materials, the on-demand professional development, which I think is important, so our teachers will have access to all of this and be able to use it. They have a training for the Friends of Rachel Club, teacher's kit, then there's some more on-demand professional development and training and an assessment. And very importantly, on the second day, after the students have seen the presentation, all of our students will have seen it, most of them I should say, then we're going to have a presentation for the community, for the parents, for anybody who lives in Penridge who wants to come see this. And I told someone earlier I would go door to door and knock on people's doors and drag them here to the high school. I think it's that important. And I would encourage every single one of you, March 13th, to make sure you mark it on your calendar. This is not something to be missed. You will not be disappointed. And I know that you'll feel that it is as powerful as we thought it was when we saw it. He has a Daryl Scott, the #1 guy, because that was something that was important to us. We said, no, we want to make sure it's him that comes and gives our talk, and they're like, okay, well, I guess you can ask, and we did, and we got it. So he's coming, and he's going to be the one to give the talk, and he just has such a unique way of delivering his message. It's very impactful, but I think it's so important for all of the adults in our community to see it, because we as adults have to buy into this idea too. I think it's long past time that we start looking at things from a different perspective of not focusing on a problem, but focusing on just making ourselves better every day as we go along. So I hope you'll support it. If you won't, I'm not techie, but I can look into how to set up a GoFundMe account to do it. Like, I am that convinced that this is something that Penridge needs to do. And again, that $14,000 price tag for that, you are getting this program in front of the more than half of our students, all of our teachers, our faculty, staff, parents, community members. It's open to everyone, and it will be well worth it. So that's my pitch.
And just to kind of, touch on that too, the presentation that we had, there was not a dry eye in the entire room, everyone, because it was that powerful of a presentation. And for the people who may think that, may have their doubts, I encourage you to come and see it for yourself. It is the presentations, it's going to be, I think 5 presentations that they're doing over a 2-day period. So that's 5 different presentations, that's professional development, it's training, and it gets carried through. And there's different districts that have done this that have, the kids are empowered to come up with their own things going forward. It's not like it's the kids taking that initiative. And I can give you a couple of examples. There was one school district that we were hearing, that was sharing that their students decided to create a Rachel's Closet. And they have a huge closet where they said it's like going into you know, going into like it's like you're going shopping, you know, because it's a huge room and everybody donates to it, and then if there's anyone in the schools that, you know, has any kind of a need, or they see, you know, the same kid, a kid is wearing the same outfit, you know, this so many days in a row, or that someone could need something, they bring them into Rachel's Closet, and this is something that was created by the students. So, you know, that was something that I thought was neat. Another thing, they were talking about, you know, in one of the school districts, the kids were the ones who got their parents out. They thought that the presentation was so powerful that they wanted their parents to come to that presentation. So they were the ones who encouraged their parents to come because they wanted them to see it. And they said that it was a packed house and it was a snowstorm. It was snowing. And so they were like, oh, this is great, we're not gonna have a very good turnout, but because it was so important to the kids for their parents to come, it was packed. And they were surprised by how much the kids were able to get their parents to come out to this presentation because the kids thought it was, you know, that important.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but, so if you wanna go to the rachelschallenge.org website, and over on the right, there's a tab for blog, and that's where a lot of these stories are, of the different ways that schools have implemented it, the students have.
And there are students who have written letters afterwards talking about how this changed their lives, and they actually have like a disc. I don't know if it's on their website.
Well, some of them might be on the website, but I'm glad you said that because I was just looking through this and, so this one girl wrote, or a student, just as a student, when I heard of Rachel's Challenge, I was really depressed. I was really sad all the time. I had my mind on suicide all year, but when I saw Rachel's Challenge, it changed my mind. I realized Rachel didn't have the choice of dying, it just happened. I wanted to take my life when Rachel didn't even get a second chance at hers. She would have grown up to be a great person, and I realized I could help her live on by spreading the word, and I will.
And they've received tons of those letters.
Yeah,
And they have
there's
them
so
all
many.
available for people to see. You know, but just some of the students sharing how much of an impact it had on their lives and how they were in a difficult spot and how much that helped them. And how many people, you know, had it started because of so many people that had contacted him about how his daughter had an impact on their lives and how his daughter changed their lives. And you'll see that there were things that happened in the history of her life that led him to that moment where he was compelled to do what he's doing. And it was like the message was coming from his daughter, and he felt compelled to share that message and help kids all around the country. And actually, I think it's even in other countries that he's.
Oh yeah, they had the thing from Mexico or Panama? Mexico. Oh, from Mexico, the kids wanted to build from, I think, Monterrey, Mexico to where he is in Colorado. They wanted to make a paper chain that would be, you know, enough to reach all the way to him in Colorado. And I don't want to give too many of the secrets away of the presentation, but there is one boy who Rachel reached out to, and it even says, like, it's not like Rachel became his best friend. She didn't become his best friend. She didn't hang out with him all the time. She would smile at him when she saw him. And that kid told her father and mother after she died that he was going to kill himself. And she like stopped him from, didn't have to talk to him directly about not killing himself, but he said he had the plan, he was going to kill himself. And you know, just that little bit that she did, again, it wasn't like going, you know, over the top and having to, you know, be real, you know, showy with being friends with someone. It was just simply doing a small act of smiling or patting them on the back or saying hello.
And I think and speaking out for him.
Yeah, well, she did. It's one of the funny stories I guess he'll tell. But so I hope that you would see the value in it, and I know it's a big number, but given everything that you get over 2 days, 5 presentations, and the number of people that it will reach, it's more than worth it.
We talk about educating the whole
whole
child,
child.
and we talk about, you know, anti-bullying, and kids are getting, you know, anti-bullying, you know, all of these anti-bullying presentations constantly, and, you know, this does not, this takes a completely different angle. This is not your typical, like, anti-bullying, don't be bullying kids kind of presentation. It's like, they don't, it's all, it's a result of the message instead of the direct message. Do you know what I mean? It's indirect. It's an indirect effect, right? So that helps that, you know, it's not the primary focus. So anyway,
Yeah, I don't wanna.
everybody will see it. We don't wanna.
I have a couple of questions. Do you have a question? So I'm looking at your package that you're, asking for. It's the Awaken package, one Awaken package and one Sustain package, and then your keynote speaker. But then you note here, no community event is included in the package.